Marxism. It's a term you've probably heard in discussions about politics, economics, or history, but what does it really mean? Hey, it's Dan Zimmerman and welcome back to Illustrate to Educate. In this video, we're going to break down what Marxism actually is, why it became so influential, and the key ideas behind it, all explained in simple, easy to understand terms. Marxism is a social, economic, and political framework developed by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels in the 1800s. At its core, it tries to explain how societies function, how economic systems influence every day, and why inequality happens. Marx argued that society is divided into two broad groups: the working class, called the proletariat, who do the labor, and the owning class, called the bourgeoisie, who own businesses, factories, or resources. For example, in a company like Amazon, thousands of employees pack boxes or deliver products, while a much smaller group of people owns the company and receives the profits. Marx believed this basic division creates unequal power in society. A key idea in Marxism is the means of production, which refer to the things needed to produce goods and services, such as factories, machines, farms, and tools. A simple way to picture this is to imagine a bakery. The ovens, building, and ingredients represent the means of production. The bakers are the workers, and the owner is the person who benefits from their labor. Even though workers physically make the bread, the owner receives the majority of the financial gain. Marx believed that workers create the value of products through their labor. For instance, a pair of shoes only becomes valuable once someone designs them, cuts the materials, assembles them, and ships them. However, workers typically receive wages that are less than the total value they create. The remaining difference between what they create and what they are paid becomes the owner's profit. Marx called this surplus value. Because of this system, Marx argued that capitalism naturally creates tensions between workers and owners. Workers want higher wages, safer working conditions, and shorter hours, while owners want lower costs and higher profits. These opposing goals create what he described as class conflict. A real-life example is when workers go on strike demanding better pay, but employers resist because increased wages reduce profits. This kind of conflict, Marx believed, is built into the structure of capitalism itself. Marx also believed that societies change over time based on economic forces, a concept he called historical materialism. Throughout history, economic systems have evolved, for example, from feudalism to capitalism, as people organized work and resources in new ways. Under feudalism, peasants worked land owned by nobles. With the rise of trade and industry, society shifted toward capitalism. Marx thought that future changes could occur if workers collectively demanded a system that reduced inequality. In his long-term vision, Marx described two stages that he believed could follow capitalism. The first is socialism, where workers collectively own or manage major industries and wealth inequality is reduced. People are rewarded based on their contribution. The second stage is communism, which Marx described as a theoretical endpoint where class divisions disappear, major resources are owned collectively, and distribution is based on need rather than profit. In this vision, government would eventually become unnecessary because class conflict would no longer exist. It is important to note that Marx gave general principles rather than a detailed blueprint, and many governments throughout history that describe themselves as Marxist interpreted his ideas differently. Marxism does not describe nationalism, racism, or authoritarianism, and it is not the same as fascism. It is not inherently violent, although some revolutionaries have used Marxist ideas. Instead, Marxism is a framework that explains society by focusing on class divisions, economic systems, the value created by labor, and the belief that societies evolve based on how people organize work and resources. Its goal is not to predict specific events, but to offer a way to understand how inequality develops and how economic forces shape human behavior. Did you find this video about Marxism to be helpful? If so, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Illustrate to Educate to support more illustrated explainers on history, politics, and much more.